I hate being a homeowner. There, I said it. I said it and I meant it. And I hate it so much that we're moving out of our house and into an apartment.
Buying a house was one of the worst things I've ever done.
I almost regret buying a home.
If you're not careful when buying a home, you can end up like the people we'll see today, stuck with a home that you hate, that's draining your wealth instead of building it. If you've ever heard that you need to hurry up and buy a house, pay very close attention to this next clip.
This house is the reason to why I say buy the house and figure the rest out later.
Please don't do that. Horrible idea. Terrible, awful, no good, very, 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 very bad idea. Don't do it. This is the equivalent to the whole like marry the house, date the rate thing. And oh my God, y'all know how I feel about that. When people say this sort of thing, y'all, they're only talking about people that have money. They're not talking about trying, make something shake just to get into the house. Would you believe me if I told y'all that there are people that are reaching out to me to refinance and they're already delinquent on their mortgage and they've only had the mortgage 6 to 12 months? At the end of the day, this is not a strategy. It is a wish. It is a hope for. It is not something that I would recommend. 10 out of 10, don't do this. If this is your way to get into the house, put the house back. I have said it before and I'll say it again. Get what you can afford. If you can't afford today's rate without ever refinancing to get a lower rate again, don't get the house.
So I completely agree with her. Buying a house and figuring out the rest later is reckless. Now, this kind of mindset is the reason why people end up with mortgages that they can't actually afford. And she's absolutely right. You should never buy a home unless you can afford the mortgage as is today without relying on refinancing at some point in the future. And one of my biggest pet peeves is when agents or lenders say, oh, don't worry, you can buy the house, you could just refinance later. That's not advice. In my opinion, that's pressure. The truth is refinancing is not guaranteed and refinancing is not free. We don't know where the rates are going to go in the future, and pretending otherwise puts buyers at tremendous risk. Now, buying a home feels like a great accomplishment at the closing table until you realize that you ignored some very important details.
I hate being a homeowner. There, I said it. I said it and I meant it. And I hate it so much that we're moving out of our house and into an apartment. But not just any apartment, into a loft in the city with 10-foot ceilings, exposed brick, floor-to-ceiling windows, because I need this move for my mental health. So I decided that this was going to be the year that I focus on myself and I just free myself of all the things that were stressing me, that I didn't like, that just made me unhappy. And then I took a look around me and I realized that one of the main things that were stressing me out was trying to renovate this damn house. I don't want to do it anymore. I'm not going to do it anymore. I saw a girl on here and her response said that rent is the maximum that I will pay and the mortgage is the bare minimum that I will pay. I've never heard anything more true, and that's exactly why I'm moving. Every time I turn around, there's another expense. There's something to pay for. Something's broke, something needs to be fixed or replaced. I don't want to deal with that. And I personally make enough money where I could live in a nice place, where I don't have to be in a house in the suburbs renovating a 1970s fixer-upper on a budget. I choose not to. So we're moving. If you want to see our journey from moving from a house in the suburbs on an acre of land to a fun little loft in the city, follow along because it's going to be fun.
I don't think she made the wrong decision, but it's a good reminder that buying the home for your lifestyle matters. You have to know what kind of environment you actually want to be in. The suburbs and the city offer two completely different experiences. And she mentioned that her home needs work, and that's part of being a homeowner. If you buy a fixer-upper, you're responsible for making sure everything gets done the right way. Now, if that sounds overwhelming to you, your options might be buying a renovated home or even using an FHA 203K loan, which combines the purchase and the renovation costs into one mortgage. She's also right about the mortgage being just the starting cost. You have maintenance, potential upgrades, and surprise repairs that can change that monthly math very quickly. And I actually like that she's keeping the property as a rental. She's not just walking away. She's giving herself the option to return one day, and maybe one day she'll be over the city and want to go back to her home. If you want to avoid regretting your home purchase, pay very close attention to this next clip.
I think this might actually be kind of a hot take, but buying a house was one of the worst things I've ever done. Obviously, everyone wants different things. Every market is different. Everyone's personal financial situation is different. Blah, 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 blah. Basically, we live just outside of Austin, and we bought a house, and houses here are just very expensive. So like we couldn't really get a cheap house. So our house is a little pricey. And we bought about 2 years ago, and we did a new build, so we didn't have to put a lot of money down, which was great. But anyway, when we like signed the contract to buy the house, it was still being built. By the time we closed, interest rates had gone up by like almost a full percentage point. And we also locked in when house prices were the highest. So basically we bought it like the worst time possible in, the past few years. Within like 2 months of living in that house, I realized that I did not want to live there. It's way too far from all of our favorite stuff. It's way too expensive. It's too much space, honestly. Like, I don't like having to care for that much space. And I don't like feeling locked down. Like, I don't like feeling like we can't just like pick up and move when our lease is up or something. It took my husband longer to realize he felt the same way. But he also feels the same way.
Did she make a bad decision buying a new build? Maybe. But this is what happens when lifestyle gets overlooked in the home buying process. So when you're house shopping, it's not just about the home. It's about how far you'll be from your friends, from the places you love to go to, and your community if that's something that's important to you. And it's also easy to get wrapped up in the excitement of a new house, but a bigger home means more money, more maintenance, and at the end of the day, more responsibility. To be honest with you, I wonder if they really thought through what living in this particular house would feel like, or if they just felt the pressure to buy something as soon as possible so they could say, we have a house. Let me know in the comments, have you or someone you know ever bought a house and ended up feeling miserable living there and just regretting the choice altogether? If you want to avoid selling your home at a loss and going into even more debt, pay attention to this next clip.
We decided that we would try to sell our house because we were like, we're just not happy here. Like, this wasn't the best decision for us. Like, let's just go. And we listed it like a year and a half, tried to list it at a price where we would at least break even. And obviously we haven't sold yet. It's been a year and a half. At this point, we are taking a huge loss on the house and taking out a personal loan to cover it, which I know sounds crazy, but our rent will be so drastically cheaper that even with a personal loan payment each month, we are each still saving like $1,000 a month once we move to an apartment. I don't necessarily regret buying the house because I'm the kind of person that has to do something in order to realize whether I like it or not. And so I had it in my mind that like buying a house was the goal. Like, everyone wants a house. It's the best decision you can make. It's a great financial investment, which like it absolutely can be if you time the market correctly, or if you're just going to stay there for like a really long time. Although I will say we've calculated, even if we stayed for 30 years, say paid off for a whole mortgage, and then wanted to sell our house and like make back money on it, the amount of money we would have paid in interest and everything, all said and done, our house would at that point have cost us like, I think almost $2 million or something, or like $1.7 million. And I kind of doubt that even in 30 years, we could sell for 2 mil or something and make, a few $100,000 off of it.
So they had the house on the market for over a year, and that usually means it was overpriced and they weren't ready to take a loss. So obviously they didn't have any equity. And if they're taking out a personal loan now, it's likely to cover the gap in between what they owe and what the home finally sold for. And that's a tough spot to be in because personal loans tend to have very high interest rates. So my hope is that they can pay it off really fast. And based on everything we've heard, it sounds like they bought more house than they can comfortably afford. You let me know if you agree with that. And this is why you don't try to time the real estate market. You buy when it makes sense for you, whether the rates are up, whether they're down. Buy when it makes sense for you and when you're truly ready. And look, I don't think she had to buy a house to figure out that she didn't want to be a homeowner or didn't want to live there. And a lot of what she's struggling with could have been figured out ahead of time. That being said, I do appreciate her honesty. She's being transparent, and That alone might help someone else think twice before rushing into a purchase. She also says she wouldn't buy again unless it's with cash or they're financially set for life. Do you agree with that mentality? Personally, I don't. I don't think it takes all that to buy a house, but let me know what you think. So many people think that buying a new construction home is the safest way to buy a home, but this next clip might make you reconsider.
If you are looking at buying a new construction house and comparing builders and thinking about purchasing through Lennar, I highly suggest you rethink that and don't go with a Lennar home. We are coming up on our 1 year of living in our house and still fighting for things that were supposed to be covered under our warranty to be taken care of. When we moved in, we were made all these huge promises, like our garage was going to be flecked and sealed because of things that they messed up on. Guess what? Never happened. We were also told that ceiling fans were going to get put in our house because they forgot to put the gooseneck covers on the top of our house, and we had that hurricane last September, and it ended up pouring through our master bedroom ceiling and causing major damage. Well, we never got the ceiling fans, and we're now almost a year to that happening, and they just finally came to finish that problem and fix it. Their workers came and took off the things from the ceiling and then just left, never put them back up. We also have clumps of paint and drywall all over our master bedroom carpeting, and they never came back to fix that either. So they'll give you a bunch of promises and they will never come through with that. They'll just get you to try to shut up. When you do your walkthrough with Lennar, they go around with this blue painter's tape and they tell you that everywhere they put the tape, they're going to come back and fix.
I'm stunned. And it's not because she had issues, but because the builder allegedly pushed him to close without even having a certificate of occupancy. I'm not going to tell anyone to avoid all new builds, but big home builders like this have a pattern of cutting corners and having tons of issues after the fact. If it's been over a year and the repairs still aren't done, I'm now wondering what kind of legal options are even available. Personally, I wouldn't have moved in with that many unresolved issues, but if they risked losing their deposit, I can understand why they felt stuck. So when you're buying a new construction home, you've got to vet the builder. You got to stay hands-on the entire time, visit the site, ask hard questions, and don't let anyone rush you into anything. Most importantly, you have to know your rights and understand them. And don't be afraid to have a lawyer review anything that you don't fully understand. So if you thought that was bad, it gets worse.
Well, here we are a year later, and we still have tape in all of our windows, on our walls, on our light fixtures, on our outlets, our switches. There's blue tape all over my house. They never came back and did anything with that blue tape. So I think that's just to show you that like they care when they're doing their walkthrough, but they're not going to come back and fix any of that either. That's all for show. Here's our master bathroom mirror. They damaged it when they were installing it. They scratched off the back of the mirror. They said they were putting it in just for closing, and then they were coming back and putting in a new master bathroom mirror. It never happened. Why am I hanging out by the thermostat? That's because they've come out 3 different times to fix our air. We have no air coming in our master bedroom. It gets 86 degrees in there. They come out, they clickety clack it, touch little buttons. We're like, oh, I don't know what's going on. We're going to have to order something and come back out. And then they never do. And then they send my husband emails to DocuSign and close off that we had that taken care of, except we never had it taken care of. And I don't know if you can tell in the video, but like everything was installed crooked in my house. All of the vents are crooked. Nothing is even. They said they were coming to fix those and straighten everything out. Never happened. We are missing shelves in our kitchen. Like they just totally didn't put them in. This is in several cabinets, but they said that's not covered under their warranty. And in the other cabinets, there's no brackets to hold them. Look at it. They came to come and do work and then signed off and said this is finished. This one's also hard to show in the video, but it's an inch difference from one corner of the window to the other side. They completely put the framing on sideways. And they want us to sign off on this saying that they finished the concrete while they patched it and did not paint it. But sure, Lennar, it's all done. Our concrete in our driveway crumbling after 4 months, but they said that's not covered either.
Now, what would you do if you were her? Because this is wild. It's been over a year and there's still blue tape all over the house. Something's clearly off here, and it feels like they rushed this build just to hit a deadline and hope that no one would notice all of the problems throughout the house. In my opinion, this is unacceptable. When you buy a brand new home, you expect it to be complete, not a punch list of half-finished work and all this blue tape and all this stuff not working. And I really hope she didn't sign off on anything that she just showed us, because at that point, it could be tough to get leverage. And I just keep wondering, who's really responsible for this mess? Is it the builder? Is it the inspector? Or is it both parties? And this is why it's so important to stay involved during new construction. Ask questions, document everything, and don't be afraid to push back. At the end of the day, it's your money that you're spending to buy the house. If you're looking for the perfect home, you're guaranteed to be disappointed. This next clip is going to show you why.
Because I was so thirsty to get this house, I basically put in my little deposit before it was even completely framed. So is that true? Yeah, it wasn't completely framed before I gave them a large deposit on this house. And I feel like now that I've been living in it for like a year and a half, there are so many things that I want to change about this house. And it would require like very large construction projects. And now I'm to the point of like, do I do that or do I just pick up and move? Because I don't know. And I love the neighborhood. I know that may be controversial to others if you know where I live. But think a gentrifying neighborhood, right? And so there are things that happen. It's still a hood. But I like it. I like the community. I like all the things. But it's just things in my house. Like for example, my living room is always dirty because there's like this much space between my couch and the door to outside. See? Can you see? I have dogs. They track dirt in. It is constantly dirty. It drives me insane. I would love for my bedroom and my bathroom to be a little bit larger. I would love for a sitting area that's over here to be pushed out a little bit more and have more windows and lights. And I'm like, that is expensive. Do I just move? But there's no just, do we just move? Have you seen this economy? Have we seen the interest rates? And again, Charlotte is a very interesting market, so I just don't know. But I feel like I'm just going to start looking and seeing what I see. But I'm like, do other people feel this way? It's just, I feel like after living here for a year and a half, I'm like, I don't know. Maybe I should have waited because I love the neighborhood. I don't mind this house. There's just a lot of tweaks. And if I really had it my way, I'd have a little bit more land. That's all. I don't know. What are your thoughts? Would y'all move? Would you think about it? Would you, if you did a construction project, how did that go? Let me know.
I respect that she admitted that she was thirsty to buy. That kind of honesty is pretty rare. But desperation should never drive a home purchase. Also, there's nothing wrong with wanting to change things in your home, but it's important to take it step by step and do it within your budget so that it doesn't become too overwhelming for you. She mentioned the couch being right by the door. I wonder if that layout can be changed, or maybe it's time to bring back those old school plastic covers like grandma had back in the day. There's almost always going to be something that you would want to change inside of your house. That's why it's important to have a clear list of your must-haves and your nice-to-haves before you buy. I do appreciate her transparency though. She's not pretending that everything is perfect. She's asking for feedback, and that shows that she's trying to make the best of her situation and not make an impulsive decision that she might regret. So the truth is, buying a home is one of the biggest decisions you'll ever make. And for many of us, is the largest purchase we'll ever make. And as we saw today, rushing into it or overlooking certain details can cost you more than just money. So I want you to learn from these mistakes. And when it's your time, make sure you buy smart. And if you're feeling stuck in the home buying process, if you go to the pinned comment of this video, I have a number of free resources that can help you get started. There's no cost for it. Just some tools to help you move forward. And if this video helped you and you enjoyed it, do me a favor, share it with someone else who needs to hear it, and be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit that like button as well. Now that you know about home buyer mistakes, I want you to learn about how to avoid losing your home. Check out this video right here.